Alright, hopefully this will be a really short video, because this lab 3, typically goes pretty well for students. If I had to pick one little mistake that people often make, it happens in this summary tab, either in these red cells here or in the green and blue cells below. And what happens might appear really minor, but it totally messes up all the answers and kind of makes it so you can't get the point of this lab. The issue just comes down to the symbol right here, this little colon that I have between B5 and B804. I think what happens is people recognize that their data that they want to take the mean and standard deviation of is a pretty big set, so they don't want to kind of do the click and drag thing because it takes so long. So instead they make note of the fact that you want the average or standard deviation, depending on which box we're talking about, of all the data from B5 here down to B804. So when you go up to this formula, if the answer weren't already in there for you, maybe you type in average, and then recognize that we want to start at B5, and then that we want to end at B804. Right? Everything looks fine so far. You close your parentheses, you hit enter, and you get an answer, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself. This is not the right answer. What's wrong with this answer? It's this comma in between B5 and B804. What the comma does is it makes it so I'm taking the average of these two cells. If I click on my formula box here, you'll see that the only cells that are highlighted is the data point in B5, and if I scroll down forever, the data point in B804. I'm just taking the average of these two numbers. That's not what I want. I want the average of all the numbers from B5 to B804, so it's important that instead of a comma here, I put in a colon. Note that that changes the answer that I have up here, and note that if I go back up to this cell and click on my formula box, now all of the data points that I want to take the average of are highlighted. Minor thing, but it'll really change your answers. I see it happen up here in the red cells a lot, but also down here like in the green cells. I'm taking the average of the cells from T12 to W12 in this random numbers example tab. That's great, it's doing exactly what I want. But if I change this colon into a comma, it's no longer taking the average of all the cells in between here, it's just taking the average of these two cells, which will mess up the answer that I want and kind of ruin the whole purpose of this lab. That's all that I have as far as common mistakes. The only other thing that people typically get marked off points for isn't so much of a mistake as it is an oversight, and that's forgetting to change the endpoints of these bins into nice round numbers. If you forget how to do that, go back to the Lab 1 Common Mistakes video, and you'll see a quick tutorial showing exactly how to do that. Hope that helps.